Hello and welcome everybody. This is the morning show. Special show today. Special edition Strazza show. I am the host, Steve Strazza, Chief Market Strategist at All Star Charts. No JC today. JC is in New York City for a conference. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And no Spencer either. Spencer, big day for Spencer. I think he's at the hospital, maybe having a baby. So we'll hear more about that tomorrow. So exciting. And JC will be back as well for the rest of the week. I have a special guest joining me today. Jason Purz is joining me, so he'll be co-hosting the show. Todd Sohn is coming on at 9 o'clock. That should be a great chat, as always. So without further ado, let's hit it. Run that bumper. Let's go, baby. My man.
Hey, what's up, Steve?
So I got the news yesterday. It was like 2:30. I'm like, you're telling me now. And then I realized, okay, baby, special circumstances. It's okay. But I'm like, really? You're letting me know now I got to do the show by myself tomorrow? He's like, we'll have somebody on. And I thought to myself, who would I rather talk to right now than Jason? Because all we're doing these days is writing about and talking about commodities, I feel like.
Oh man.
For the by far the most in a long time that I think all of us, the analyst team together, is just all over commodities. Even the equities guys. What do you think? Is it too much?
It's just a cycle, right? You know, when you look at it and you understand the cycles, like you had a great report on the SBSW stock, great trades. And what do we do well here? We find the cycles, we figure out where the primary trends are, and then we leverage it by finding the stocks inside of it. And I think that's what we're all doing right now. And I think it's all, as long as we're all making money and our clients are making money, we're all happy. I saw the double from you had the SLV trade, you had a bunch of different commodity trades on lately. So I mean, I think it's just been a good time to do it.
Well, I was thinking about you specifically yesterday. Did you see my note?
I didn't see the note yesterday.
So you inspired it, so you should read it. I think I said the way I learned it is gold goes first, and then copper, and then crude oil. And if I had to like shove silver into that equation or that routine somewhere as a little quasi precious industrial metal, wouldn't you stuff it right between gold and copper? Right. So wouldn't it go gold, then silver, then copper, then the energy stuff?
Usually, like sometimes it's gold, copper, sometimes it's gold, silver. And I think that's it. And we could throw up this. It's funny you say this. I brought up slide 33. So if we got slide 33, I actually bought a slide of this.
There's going to be so many commodities charts today. Christos can't take it anymore. He said so much commodities talk in my inbox. I'm telling you, it's got to be some sort of signal.
When we're talking about commodities, it's not once again, we're all very, very flexible. So that means we could go long, we could go short, we could trade anything. Steve will trade the craziest meme stocks you never heard of. I'll be trading some obscure power market in Germany. Like there's all types of things that we trade. And if we're talking about commodities, it just means they're obviously moving. Something's going on there. And so if you look at this chart, go ahead, Steve.
We will do anything, Jason, but there are certain people who will be like only growth stocks or only value stuff. Like we'll go anywhere. We're just looking for a trend.
Well, the biggest thing is when we're doing stuff, we always have to think as traders. Like this is just generally as a trader. One is go around, figure out what's going on in the macro landscape. If you can figure out what's going on in the macro landscape, then you figure out where to go. Something like international stocks. Okay, the dollar's moving down, international stocks are moving. We're going to go kind of into these areas. So I think it's just something to keep paying attention to here. So let's go to slide 33.
I'll buy palladium. I'll get down with a little platinum. If anything, it drives me crazy sometimes as somebody who prefers to just live in my equity account and not have to dabble with futures and have to think about how to position size different futures positions and how that works with what I'm already holding in my equities, right? So if I can, I'm going to do it with an equity vehicle and with commodities, and I'm going to talk about this. It's going to be the first question we ask Todd Sohn today. There's just still not enough vehicles. Maybe finally they're coming if these things keep working, but the amount of vehicles that we have to express theses in commodities markets and the equities market continues to be lacking. It actually used to be better 5, 10 years ago. We had more options. We have less today. Jason has no audio. What is going on? Izzy, help us. I lost my co-host. Oh, God. Bear with us, guys. I'll take a sip of my coffee. I woke up to the most insane allergy attack today. I think my cat's just sitting here taunting me about it. Couldn't stop sneezing. Had an absolute sneezing attack. I hate sneezing on camera. Izzy, are we going to get Jason back? Because I'm just going to run through some commodities charts. I threw into the deck this morning basically just a handful of charts that we have been writing about, talking about, discussing on our different shows. So let's just go right through them, Fonz. I hope my audio is working. Everybody can hear me okay, right? Okay. So, first one, gold. Of a lot of my view is coming down to, from a weight of the evidence perspective at least, is coming down to, well, look at gold, right? Look at the other ones. There's a lot of intermarket in the way that I'm thinking about these different commodities charts right now. So I'll look at something like silver and I'll zoom way out and I'll overlay it with gold and I'll say, well, if gold looks this way, right? Look at the way that these two track together over time. You can see the big bases in the 80s and 90s that broke out in the 2000s into another big base, right? Some could call this like a cup and handle and something like silver, right? And then if you look at that secondary base there in gold, that recently broke out and it looks like silver is going now. So why doesn't silver look more like gold in the future? I think that's one of the easiest ways to think about what's happening right now. When you zoom in and you get a little bit more tactical, right, and say to yourself, well, how might that move start? This would be a pretty good point, pretty good place and time and level for it to start. Why? Let's talk about it. You got this coil in place. You can see the coil drawn in blue here within a broader, half year, 3/4 consolidation pattern, right? That breaks out around 35 1/4. And then if you look at the squeeze indicator, that's just measuring the volatility. That's just showing you the tightness of this current little consolidation, right? So once you get a crossover, a bullish crossover in that squeeze indicator, it tells you expect a big move, expect a big move to be underway. Then we have to decide what direction is that move going to occur in. Looks like it's already occurring to the upside, right? So I think silver is already on its way right here, right now, to looking more like gold in the future. Silver gold ratio, if you look at this next one, a little bull hook in this tells you that the rally in precious metals is being supported by the right kind of risk appetite. So I think this little failure, little scoop and score situation, which is set up perfectly, is about to fire. And that could be the perfect confirmation for building a pretty big position in silver, actually, over gold. That's going to tell you that leadership is coming, that outperformance, right? The animal spirits. Gold bugs start buying silver. So I think silver gold ratio squeezing higher here. That's a big deal. And then why not copper? Copper looks really similar to silver, in my opinion, right? You got a big base and then a coil inside of it. And just look at what led up to the coil. False start out of this base in March, big failure, big failed breakout, slammed right back to the lower bounds. It took like a week and a half to get there, right? So from failed moves come fast moves. That's what that looks like. But volatility was blowing out, right? So it's like decision time. That's inflection point volatility. And I think since copper refused to break down and is now coiling and resolving higher from this little coil, it seems it's going to take another shot at the upper bounds of the space. So maybe copper ends up looking more like silver, which ends up looking more like gold in the future. If you look at something like palladium and platinum, even that showing evidence of a reversal. Platinum looking better. There's some like foreign central bank stuff going on there, from what I understand. Palladium, they'll still look similar. And if you look at one of these, just this is a bellwether platinum and palladium stock if they exist. So this is Sibanye Stillwater. We talk about this one every commodity cycle, and 5 3/4. What a big level. That would be a nice reversal. That's what it did. If you go look at this next chart, this is the performance of Sibanye during the last commodity bull run, and just look at the level of outperformance you get over the metals. Jason, are you with me? Wow. Thought you guys like test that kind of stuff. All right. Okay, next one. Just flip it to the triple pane energy chart. Figure it out, guys. We're okay. I could talk forever. Going on to in Kenny's room. If any of you guys are Kenny's members, going to be in his room at 11 o'clock today, I believe. So that's going to be awesome. That'll be fun. We're going to do like some live trading and just break it down. I hope the market's moving, so there's stuff to talk about. Be great to put on some live trades, but like I don't know, there's some days I go by I don't really do anything. Yesterday was an interesting tape. I think we're ready to fire back to those old highs. And then I'm ready for Todd Sohn. I've pretty much gone through my charts. But if you look at the energy futures here, right? Gasoline holding in, heating oil just ever so slightly below this little shelf of support, right? But looks ready to scoop. And crude oil is just coiling right there with what could be the perfect little failed top setup. This is a multi-year distribution pattern in crude, and these things have been just sitting on the lower bounds, right, of these topping patterns for quarters now, since last year, just hanging out, and the bears cannot break these distribution patterns down. I think at a certain point, especially when you look at what's going on elsewhere in the market, whether it's how well stocks and risk assets are trending, or all of these commodities that we're talking about breaking out, do we want to make the bet that crude oil and heating oil and gasoline, right, all these energy contracts are going to be breaking down, resolving these massive tops while all the metals are breaking out and looking more like gold? No way, right? And the fact that they haven't been able to break these tops down yet, I think is huge, right? It tells you they're probably not going. So I think these are going to scoop and score any day now, all three of them, right? And you'll probably see it happen in sequence. So you could kind of make a list. As one goes, expect the others to follow. I think these things have bear trap written all over 'em. So that's all I got. If we can't get Jason back, that's fine. We'll just do a state of the markets. Okay. So let's look at the futures markets right now. It's about 8:45, 45 minutes to the open here. S&P 500 down almost a quarter of a percent. Dow down a quarter of a percent. NASDAQ 100 futures down 0.18%. So really nothing here from the major averages. We're coiled up really nicely. Still, we've been in these little multi-week coils for a while now. International equity sleepy out here today as well. German DAX up about 0.16%. If you look at something like EFA, looks like we're coming in down about 1% here. That's probably due to the dollar strength. If you look at the dollar index, we're up about 0.5% here today. Euro down 0.5%, a little bit more than 0.5%. Yen, which is working on a really nice base. I think this base in the yen breaks out pretty soon. Yen down about 0.5% versus the dollar, so dollar yen up 0.5%, and the British pound down 1/3%. Over to the commodities markets. Start with copper because I think copper it just looks really perky here. They're all giving some back here this morning, and you're starting to see that dollar relationship work in the opposite direction with crude oil and then also the other commodities because as the dollar was down big yesterday, we had big moves across the board in commodities. Now the dollar's taking some back here today. Commodities giving back just a little bit. Copper down 1.36% this morning over in precious metals. Gold down about 0.75%. Silver futures right up against the upper bounds of that base. I mean, silver, it just wants this breakout so bad, but down 1% here today, trading around 34.55. Over in energy, crude oil up slightly, about 0.6%. So crude back to rallying with the dollar here today after a quick dislocation in that relationship yesterday. Heating oil up 0.8% today. Natural gas down about 2%, and gasoline futures up slightly, up about 1/3%. Over in funny money land, save the best for last. Bitcoin down slightly. Bitcoin's been sleepy too, right? Just kind of hanging out, putting a little retest that shelf of old all-time highs from December and January, and now it's just hanging out. Solana made a big move while I was sleeping. I saw that up 3% here this morning. I think Solana has a little tactical polarity zone in the low 160s, call it like 164, 165. A scoop back above that level, I think, sets Solana on a track back to the 200s. And that would just be huge for the whole crypto space. So looking for that. Ripple as well, kind of coming in, testing its April VWAP support right here in the 220. So we're trading around 222 today. I think Ripple looks coiled up and ready to go. You could draw a little downtrend line just from the May highs and play that little flag higher. I think Ripple goes to 3 soon. And then Ethereum. Of course, there's Ethereum. Ethereum's doing nothing here today. And MicroStrategy pre-market up about 1.5%. Still like the Coinbase. I know Sean really likes the crypto brokers, Coinbase, Robinhood too. I think he just put on a Robinhood trade. I like that. I keep watching the miners. You had something like this Applied Digital yesterday, just announced some sort of deal. Let me see if I could find it. I saw it come across my news feed yesterday, but APLD was up like 45% yesterday. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to pull it up. They did some sort of deal. And then the big news this morning, the big mover is Constellation Energy. I mean, this stock just doesn't stop. Up another 10% this morning. They just announced a 20-year deal with Meta to supply 1.1 gigawatts of power, ensuring reactor operation through 2047. Seems like a pretty big deal. 1.1 gigawatts. I don't know how much that is, but it sounds like a lot. Who else was in the news this morning? I saw good old Hims and Hers announcing plans to acquire Zava, accelerating major European growth across the UK, Germany, France, and Ireland. Here's what I'll say about Hims and Hers. Everything they do ends up looking like a great decision. These guys, like these operators, just let them go, right? Let them cook. Europe, if Europe they want to go and sell the ED and hair loss stuff to Europe, great. They should do that. I'm down with whatever Hims and Hers thinks is the right course of action at this point. I have never seen anybody run a healthcare company with this kind of speed to market. Really cool. So they're acquiring Zava. There was a press release out this morning. Market seems to like it. And that's what ends up happening. Once the market believes that you're some sort of master operator and you know what the hell you're doing, you know how you're running your company, then whenever you make these changes or strategic decisions, for your company, right? And in this case, acquire another business. A lot of times stocks go down when they acquire other businesses, right? If you have a CEO that the street believes in and you're acquiring other businesses, market starts rewarding you. Oh, this guy knows what he's doing. Every other deal he's made has been great. Why wouldn't this one be great too? Stock's up 7% pre-market. There you go. So Wall Street just continues to absolutely love this stock. Rocket Lab launches the 10th Black Sky mission, hits 65 total Electron flights. We could start doing a segment where I have to read press releases that I don't understand with words like gigawatts and Electron flight. So, Rocket Lab Electron flight, that sounds great. Deploying a Gen 3 Black Sky BKSY satellite into 470-kilometer orbit. They've been doing this for a long time. Their 10th mission since 2019, second this year alone. Um, These companies are funky, man. But the market is loving the space and exploration stuff. Rocket Lab up 3% on this news here this morning. If you look at some of the other ones, ASTS getting a little pop, Lunar getting a little pop, SATL, not much. Okay. Neo reports unaudited first quarter 25 financial results. Don't waste your time reading that. What else in the world of news here this morning? Decent day. Decent day on the news front. China has expressed strong opposition to the EU's recent measures that limit the procurement of medical equipment. Okay, nothing to see there. Had some late day reporting on the trade war again yesterday. More comments from the China Commerce Ministry about the EU. Victoria's Secret down slightly here after reporting earnings. Looked like a beat. Both top and bottom. Mara announces Bitcoin production and mining operation updates for May of 2025. That's what I'm here for. I heard Mara owns more like Bitcoin than MicroStrategy. Is that right? It can't be right. I like Caleb Franzen's take on Twitter yesterday. It's something kind of been talking about, which is that MicroStrategy becoming such a major player in Bitcoin is probably more of a risk than anything. They become a systemic risk to the price of Bitcoin. What if MicroStrategy, what if this smart leverage doesn't work one day and MicroStrategy blows up? What's that mean for Bitcoin? Forced liquidations from the largest holder of Bitcoin. What would that mean for Bitcoin? I don't know. Everybody's so excited about it. Nobody talks about how it works in a bear market. Mara produced 950 Bitcoin in May. Super cool. Market still hates this stock. These Bitcoin miners, some look a lot better than the others. Like I said, this APLD looks fantastic. Something like Cores looks fantastic. Then you got like Mara and Riot and the old school Bitcoin miners, the ones that have been around the longest, seem to be the ones that are struggling the most. Pinterest upgrade to overweight. Stock seems to be moving 5% on the news. JP Morgan, new price target 40. Plus 9% achieves another record month for U.S. uranium production. This one's interesting because I think Energy Fuels is mostly U.S. based, which makes them an interesting name through through the trade war situation here. So it's the UUUU. But when it comes down to nuclear stocks, I mean, there's the new nuclears and there's everything else. Like, sure, you could go buy Cameco or the NXE, something like UUUU, and they have other like rare earth stuff. They're doing other things. UEC is another one. Denison. These are all the old uranium names. They've been around forever, my whole career, all of them except for NXE. But then we have the new nuclears, these small modular reactor businesses like the Okilo and the SMR and the NNE. And then you got the Constellation and the Vistra. Like that, I think that's what's really interesting in the world of energy right now. There's nothing better than those stocks. SMR, NNE, and Okilo, I mean, these stocks are waiting for no one. Rallying again here this morning on the Constellation news. Anyway, ASML downgraded, selling off a little bit pre-market. UEC, there it is. One of those old uranium names, up 9% on earnings. They seem to like it. Okay, that's great. Big bases there in those other uranium names, right? UEC, CCJ, monster bases. Some of the biggest, best looking bases in the market, really. NVIDIA, some Jeffrey's comments out on NVIDIA. I like the semiconductors here. I was talking with the analyst team last night. Somebody said, hey, look out for semiconductors. I said, I think you're right. I think you're right. This is just one of those groups that you would expect to work and expect to keep playing catch up, right? And really expect to be home to some of the best stocks in a bull market. It's almost always the case. So I'm looking for a stock like NVIDIA to be back making new all-time highs very soon, especially if that's where the indexes are going. And just look at something like Broadcom. Look at Avago. That's been the leader when it comes to semiconductors. AVGO basically breaking out to new all-time highs right now after going sideways all year. Nice little consolidation there. Freight futures, not interested in that. Just running down the rest of the news here. Google selling off again. Apple wants to discuss cooperation with Perplexity to boost its purchasing power. Google volume drop off of those headlines. Commentary in addition to Samsung's cooperation with Perplexity. Apple is also reportedly interested. How much is it selling off? I'm telling you, it's not easy being Google these days. Not easy owning one of these monopoly search businesses that's just been one of the best cash cow businesses in the history of businesses. Now all of a sudden the market hates it. Tough to be Google or Baidu. This too shall pass, like it always does for these Mag 7 names. So Google down, I don't know, 0.8% here pre-market. Whatever. Amazon Pharmacy announces updates to simplify medication management. Medicare Part D beneficiaries can now access PillPack from Amazon Pharmacy for pre-sorted medication packets. NATO seeks, never mind. Okay, so that's all we got here this morning. If I take a look underneath the hood, I think it looks like we're going to have a pretty decent day for some of the growthier stuff, but then some of the more value and cyclical stuff, not so much. ARC stocks are up 1% here pre-market. Communications being weighed down a little bit by this Google. And again, equity futures pretty much unchanged on the day. I would love to bring in Todd Sohn and talk about ETFs, maybe even commodity ETFs, maybe even European ETFs, new ETF launches. I'm sure they've launched a couple double leveraged space and exploration individual stock funds since the last time we talked to Todd Sohn. So we will have to get updates on all of that. Let's go. I like that name, Jason. Run the bumper. Let's bring on Todd. Is Todd here?
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Todd Sohn.
Hey guys, how we
The
doing?
audio works.
Of course, well, I mean, it's always a gamble if my audio will work or not. It's the most stressful.
That was my morning.
Jason back too.
It's the most stressful time of the month for me.
Why? Tell us why.
Because it's just I don't know if it's gonna work, and the crowd gets rowdy. You get
You
upset.
get nervous? Do you get nervous when you do our show?
I do, only
When do you
because
start?
of the audio.
Well, we have missed you. I was just saying before you came on, we got to ask Todd if some more commodity funds are coming. But why don't you start there? Like, what have been the new
Commodities, huh?
launches? Any cool new launches or closures since we chatted? What, like a month ago?
TEMT. This one's for you, the junkie in you, Steve. I don't know how big a junkie Jason is.
Ooh.
Not so much.
No, listen, Todd. I'm already in the QBTX. I don't need this.
You don't need 2x Tempest.
No, but this is 2x QBTS, right?
No, TEMT. Well, there's QBTX
Uh-huh.
and then TEMT. Tempt.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
2x Tempest AI.
Okay. Then TradingView is wrong. It's telling me this is 2x long QBTS daily,
no.
and it says 2x long TEM daily. I thought it was one of those
No,
combination funds.
Tempest AI. I mean, so what's interesting is the
Okay, wow.
the single stock stuff that's coming out. They're getting. I have a scatter plot. I can send it to you after this. They're getting smaller and smaller. So you started with Tesla, Nvidia, Coinbase, and now there's this kind of linear move. If you put them on a scatter plot. There was a filing out there from some random issuers, and there were stocks in there I'd never heard of. And I wish I could remember the ticker, but it was like a $300 million, started with the ticker S, and it was probably getting small.
No, but they're doing this with small caps?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean the quantum names were technically small caps. I don't know what they are now.
No, you're right.
Webull is coming.
QBTS was a small cap last week.
Yeah. There's a 2x Webull coming, and that's a $5 billion name. So
Just Webull IPO'd a couple months ago.
Yeah, and we're going to 2x it right away.
Man.
So
and it's down 90%, so let's launch a double.
Yeah. So they're getting smaller and smaller because, you guys do your young aristocrats, all that stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of trying to find the next big name. And if you can catch on to some of these names like the quantum stuff, you can get a product that gets up to $100 million pretty quick.
TEMT.
Do I think it's a little crazy? Yes. But it's also hilarious.
Anything interesting go away recently?
Yeah, let me grab a list here really quick. Actually, give me 30 seconds.
You Knicks fan, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, they screwed up the first game.
That was rough to watch. That was rough.
Wasn't
big
it?
Changes or no? I don't know. So
I still can't figure out if
the cruise ETF is gone. That's one.
What's
that's
that?
Interesting. The
Which
cruise
one?
ETF, CRUZ.
Oh,
That
they
one.
Oh yeah. Defiance a trip. The airlines.
Really recently.
We didn't have it for
There's,
very long either. It was only around for a couple years.
Mhm.
I think Trip, TRYP may also be. Yeah, that's gone too. Thematic is tough. I would love to bring the restaurant funds back.
Yeah,
because the restaurant indices stink because they're all skewed by McDonald's and Starbucks.
What was it? Byte?
Byte,
Byte.
long live Byte, man. So
Yeah.
in May, you had Crane Shares close their all China fund. Shocking. And then they had this EM strategy that would rotate between EM and EMX China. And I think it was a unique idea, but no one bought it. LNG ecosystem, Range Global, that closed. And then Simplify. Yeah. Think of
But
that
is
what
there
you
other
might.
ones still? Didn't they just launch an
Nukes.
offshore too?
Oh yeah. OFOS maybe, is that the ticker?
Yeah.
OFOS.
And they have coal too.
Coal and nukes, man. Nukes is all the rage.
Oh, is that the new nuclear?
It's new-ish.
What is the ticker for that?
NUKZ. I mean, that is pure.
Oh wow.
Pure fire right there.
Wow. Get aboard.
Do I think there's any other interesting contrarian closures? Not necessarily.
Fine. All right.
Nothing there yet. Nothing there yet. But it's all about single stocks, man.
Now, Jason wants to know about the commodity funds. Are we ever going to get some of these commodity funds back that they took away? It's got to be 5 or 6 years now. 4 or 5 years. They shut down all commodity funds.
I mean, there's all you can get. I think the move that some issuers are doing they're playing around with the roll yield.
Yeah.
That way you're not getting crushed when you have to roll the futures contracts. That's kind of the newer thing. It's been going on for a few years.
Shouldn't be. That's not hard to figure out for liquid contracts, right, Jason? Like they should be able to do some. USO shouldn't look the way it does.
No.
Oil. Can't they do a better job?
Oh, for sure. But it's just the way. It's kind of like when things have been done a certain way, they continue to do it a certain way, and also they didn't expect things like 2020 to happen. 2020 happens, you get oil negative, it smashes the whole fund. Every 2x. You guys remember there was a bunch of 2x and 3x oil funds at that time, and those are all gone. So basically it's a really bad way of doing it. It's the reason why it's much better to kind of just trade the futures contracts. But a lot of people don't do that.
I don't know if because I get it. Commodities have a role somewhere in a portfolio, right? Whether you're trading it or just uncorrelated assets. It seems to me like folks are more concentrated on either managed futures, or crypto, because crypto's hot. They got to build out their crypto ecosystems. They're kind of just leaving commodities aside. So I don't know how many more launches you're going to get in the commodity world. You know what I mean?
Nobody's interested.
Well, think about it more
which is interesting in itself, right?
Yeah.
Think about it more just the fact that we've been in this strong dollar cycle since since 08 basically. And it's just, if we go into a weak dollar cycle, it probably would see more of these pick up. And that's kind of when a lot of these were launched. If you look back at, 2000 to 2012, you saw a lot of these commodity fund ETFs get launched. And next thing you know, commodities are dead for 10 years straight, basically until 2020. And then finally, they were like, I'm done. And even when they started to move back up in 2020, some of them got delisted right then. The coal ETF, I think the cocoa ETF.
Well, not only did they take away coal when they did, but then they brought it back when they did, and look at it since.
It's just laughable.
You can get 2x on wheat and corn if you want. I don't know who wants that, but it exists.
That's Tickerium does that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
they just launched the 2x Ripple.
Ripple.
Do you know the rules around that? What's up with that? We got to have Sal back on. I got to ask him about that.
I mean, I know the 2x up there's a derivatives framework.
So that's just futures then. So they could do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not. I mean, it's not spot, but it's something, and people like it.
Yeah, that's going to be a wild one. That's the XRP.
I couldn't tell you anything about Ripple itself.
Do you follow the crypto stuff though? Aren't we waiting for Solana funds? Isn't that supposed to be the next
staking, this and that? That's the whole thing. But I don't know. Color me skeptical on what the demand for this is going to be.
Yeah,
95% of people, if they're going to buy crypto, they just buy Bitcoin because they've heard of it. They know.
Yeah, but no, I think Solana is going to be a hit. for these
What,
advisors.
what,
Dude,
what,
they're
what
buying
does-
these micro strategy funds. Why wouldn't they buy this story of, hey, this is just a higher beta Bitcoin and it's going to pay you a dividend and you're going to get paid to
I
hold this
don't.
thing?
Maybe
The advisor's
I'm
going to
naive.
eat that up. They're going
I
to
think
love that.
I'm probably being naive because I don't understand what the difference is.
I'm going to quit my job and go around selling Solana to advisor shops. I think it's that good. It's that much of a home run. Who could say no to that?
What's the difference between that and Bitcoin?
A lot. Solana's.
Look, I'm telling you, I'm being naive here because I don't know. I legitimately don't know. I need to read a
No.
book.
Well, the difference lately has been a lot of underperformance from Solana.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And Bitcoin already has the liquidity if you're using an ETF. Whatever the Solana, Ripple, Bonk.
So what's holding that up? The whole staking situation. They're trying to figure out.
Yeah, I think
how
it's a
to do
regulatory
that.
thing. Like is it a security? Is it not a security?
Well,
There's a whole regulatory thing, which is like
the problem is they lock it
not
up.
fun to read about.
So like it's easy to do that with an ETF when it's based on a dividend payment, but with the staking, you got to like wait 30 days to unstake it. So what happens during a bear market if they're holding a staked position and can't get? I don't know, right?
I
don't know how they.
I'm so skeptical of the. Bitcoin will always have the most of the assets, and then there'll be this little corner for all the junkies like you for Solana and Dogecoin and stuff like that.
Wrong. You're wrong.
Time will tell.
So I sit here and I watch my news feed. Oh, by the way, question in the chat. Somebody asked about the news feed, and the chat's funny today. Listen to this one from Christos. Damn, I really needed a 2x TEM. Thanks, Todd. That's great. No, somebody asked, where am I reading all that news from? Shout out Trade Exchange, just one E, Trade Exchange. Tell Milton Steve sent you. It's just the best. It's the best news forum out there. I actually helped him build this many years ago. He's a dear friend, friend of All Star Charts. So that's Trade Exchange that I use every morning. And what I saw yesterday on Trade Exchange was, as I so often do, a new fund, a new micro strategy fund. Did you hear about this? Just yesterday? It's kind of like the
What's it doing
STRK.
now?
I don't know anything about it, but they're launching new funds around this thing. I don't know. I don't even know. Was it preferred stock? I'm gonna try to find it. But it seems like once a week there's some sort of micro strategy, something
It's
listed,
MicroStrategy.
launched, secondaries.
It's big. It's all big, and I don't get any of it.
MicroStrategy now underperforming Bitcoin. What say you? Is it a problem?
Just buy Bitcoin.
Man, God, you won't even, you don't care at all. You hate crypto.
I don't hate crypto. I just am completely agnostic to it. I don't get it.
No, Michael just nailed it. MSTD it was. That's right. MSTD.
I've been in crypto for years, but at the same time, it's Bitcoin is the biggest and best. It's the most liquid. You can trade futures on it. I don't ever trade the ETFs, but you can trade the ETFs, whatever it is. I definitely like going to Bitcoin above everything else. But once again, I understand why some people could pick some other ones. You want these huge wins, but Bitcoin's just been a huge win over and over and over again. So I'd rather stick there.
I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Last week I bought Pepe the Frog, I bought Dog with Hat, and I bought Peanut the Squirrel.
I don't get that.
Swear to God.
What about the smoking frog one?
No, it's Pepe the Frog. I don't think my frog smokes.
The smoking chicken. Sorry, the smoking chicken.
I don't have a smoking chicken. I don't have Fartcoin. I have a line, right, that I won't go below, and that's
can I make one of Spencer's baby?
Can you name Spencer's baby? I don't know if he'll let you.
No, the coin.
You want
Spencer's baby coin? Can we do that?
Yeah, Spencer's gone today, having a baby. Congratulations.
Yeah, I always knew the movie Junior would actually come.
He's been so prepped and ready for this moment. He must be so happy right now.
A man having a baby. Who would have
He's
thought?
been going to Costco for months, getting ready with the diapers and everything. Yep.
Yeah.
He's ready, man.
They've been like bunkering down, not leaving the house. I think he was so ready. He was psyched when he called me yesterday.
Dude, I love it. That's great. I mean, it's a great feeling. So happy for him.
All right,
big mazel to him.
Huh?
It's a big mazel tov to him.
Mazel tov, Spencer.
Go ahead. What's up?
Back half of the year. Well, we're almost there. We're 5 months in. So for the remaining 7 months of the year, is it gonna can it carry on this way with international just whooping U.S. equities butts out here day in and day out?
I like it,
You do.
and I almost wonder if there's kind of this tango going on between Europe and Japan. It's
Okay.
like
Say more.
Japan was the 23 story.
Mm-hmm.
Europe
Mm-hmm.
was the
Big time.
end of 24 into this year's story. I think Europe's probably
Yeah.
it's overbought, right? I can see Europe just pausing here.
It's been overbought,
Right.
but it hasn't
Yeah,
mattered.
yeah. At some point it will, right? Just
Right.
the way mechanics work. Meanwhile, Japan's done nothing since last July or August since the yen unwind, and now it's starting
Nice
to pop up
consolidation
again.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little frustrating. Now it's just working. Japan's working again, especially in dollar terms because of the FX. So
So I
I'm,
asked the question, well,
I think it can work. I think it can.
yeah. So it's not
A big enough lead.
about international, versus US. It's more about like we could see a lot of rotation there. You're already seeing Southeast Asia wake up, South America wake up. So participation continues to broaden
I,
around the globe.
I'm a fan.
You have a
And
favorite
looking at
region?
I think it's Europe. It's still Europe.
Yeah, it's got to be
Europe. I
right.
mean, Europe is the best. It's the
Yeah.
momentum and trend. I just think like maybe in the near term, there's probably a little bit of a consolidation play out.
Yeah.
I also look at like European financials. The banks have been so good that I'm a little scared of mean reversion at some point.
Crazy. I
You
mean,
know,
it's been impossible.
there would be a headline that comes out and just shakes the whole tree on those names. Kind
It's
of like what
been
we had in April.
I mean, this thing ripped higher out of this base. It like retested. The March April sell off in EUFN was just a super hard retest of the base breakout level, and then
Yeah,
never even looked back. Just V'd right out of there.
yeah.
It's been impossible to own enough Deutsche Bank for the first time in anyone's life. It has been impossible to own enough Deutsche Bank. This has never happened before.
Say European financials are global leadership. I mean, that's a rare thing to say. So I like it. And then Japan, the industrials are good there. Consumer tech stuff is good in Japan too. And I wouldn't lose sight of that. Like it's still a really good market there, just having some growing pains because the FX had a massive unwind.
And these bases, and whether it's
Yeah.
euro, pound, yen looks like it's ready to explode higher out of the base, right? That would be great. I think you want to be
Yeah.
in the EWJ, not the DXJ this time.
EWJ, yes. I mean, I always like to say like buy 50-50 because it's so hard to get stocks and then FX right.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, okay, if you're a precision player, a tactical player, then yeah, EWJ. If you're a long-term advisor, I just say just do 50-50, hedge on hedge.
Why not you use like a 200-day moving average system, right? And
Yeah, you could do that.
why it's about to complete like this textbook trend reversal. Okay, then do EWJ, and when that's
Maybe
not the case, throw it back to DXJ.
that might be a new ETF idea.
Bang.
Someone's
All right.
paying attention.
Yeah, let's get Jeremy on here. He'll love it. All right, what else? Are we ever going to get a Frontier Markets ETF back? Because that would be cool.
No,
And
I
it feels
think
pretty
I
cool.
think operationally it was too hard.
Yes.
It's an
Right.
operational problem. Right? I wouldn't look at it as a sentiment thing. Every once in a while, you get these really good breadcrumbs from ETF launches and closures. That one I think was literally an operational problem. Like they couldn't get the securities they needed.
Yes. We've had so many great conversations with Perth Toll, who runs the Freedom Fund, and she'll tell you that's the toughest part about it. Hands down.
Literally running the fund itself. Like it's great for you and I to put up a chart of it, but actually running stuff for these random countries.
They're participating directly in some very obscure markets.
So she's doing things right. In that deck, there's a filing for a Vanguard emerging markets ex-China ETF. So if Vanguard's doing it now, then she was doing something right, and they're also competing with iShares and their product for EMXC. Good job by her.
That's awesome.
Maybe this. There's all. I mean, everyone is doing EMX China, which is itself a message on China. I can't get myself to get involved.
Why?
Look at the slide before this. Pull that up. I think it's the slide before.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to hear Todd's
There you
answer.
go. So this is the MSCI China, some stats over the last 32 and a half years. The volatility is just too much, right? The annualized return of MSCI China is 1% since the end of 92. That's awful.
With a 30% correction.
Yeah, average calendar year correction, 30% per year.
Wow.
It is crazy to invest there. If you know, maybe we're all good enough to trade it. Like I just can't do it. And we were just talking about how Crane shares they closed some of their China funds recently.
Did they? Did they really?
Yeah,
Which one?
they closed KALL. KALL they closed. They're not going to close KWeb because that's the moneymaker.
No, no way.
And they're also, you know, Crane Shares is bridging out in their product suite. They did stuff with Hedgeye. They're doing an AI fund. They have a managed futures fund. So they're moving away from China, which is another interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
But then I just go back to this table here and I'm like, that's why.
But Todd, if you look at this table, couldn't you say the same for a lot of these countries that are in emerging markets?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think it's because of the attention China gets, right? It's in the news every single day. There's a massive amount of product tracking that region, right? There's one Malaysia ETF, but there's like 40 China ETFs. I mean, it's probably less now actually, but you think about it that way.
There are far less now. I remember a time, I don't think they still exist,
But
but there were
funds?
sector ETFs.
Yeah, Global X, they closed, not all of them. They left discretionary and maybe
I thought so.
maybe financials. Yeah, they closed a whole bunch of them.
Emerging markets were so big in the 2000s. They were everywhere. New funds popping up all the time. People were always talking about investing in, and they made a lot of money those years. It's just they've completely fallen out of favor since 2011.
Oh, yeah, it's a bear market. So what is kind of interesting to me is every time there's a big market correction, you see money go into levered long funds like TQQQ.
Yeah.
And I hear people that are like, yeah, I just buy TQQQ and I sit on it. Okay, if you can stomach the drawdowns of 60, 70%, I get it. And that you've been rewarded for the last 15 years. But if you tried that with EM, because it's been a structural bear market, you've gotten torched. So maybe if that ever switches, that's kind of interesting where you'd want to use leverage.
But there's something kind of interesting there with what we're talking about, just because of, you know, like we're saying, the weak dollar cycle. Like if we actually have a weak dollar cycle, which it looks like that could be coming into play, we actually have a situation where money keeps flowing out of bonds, which has continued to happen. And let's say the U.S. continues to underperform. Those are situations where EM actually does really well. So I think we got to continue to be open-minded to it, even though, like, I know some areas are going to be hard for people. You know, for me being technical, I'm like, you know, China, fine, it's a trade. And as a trade, like you said, as a trader, it's one thing. As a long-term investor, it's another thing.
That's
it's something to just keep watching.
It's a style. Like if I go to an advisor's office, I'm like, you can't invest in China. I like Europe as the derivative of China, right? Luxury goods, stuff like that. Even though those names have been terrible.
That China discretionary was CHIQ.
Yeah, I think that's still there, right? Because I think there's Alibaba in it, so it's like why not? But they closed the rest of them.
I want to talk about your energy charts.
Oh yeah.
Go slide 11. Todd came prepared. He knew it was a commodities day.
I didn't realize Phil Perman's here. Hey Phil, or is that like a fake Phil Perman?
No. That's the real Phil Perlman.
Phil, I need a back doctor. My back is in awful shape.
What do you do that you have a bad back?
Tweaked it in the gym. I can't
you desk too much?
Yeah, that too. You gotta stretch me out.
Desk too hard.
I've got something to help. I've got something to help you, Todd. Actually, it sounds ridiculous. So if I didn't watch this guy who gave me this and told me this fall out of the ceiling and break his back and his neck right in front of me, and then comes back riding, walking, because I used to be an athlete. So like this guy was walking, riding, and I told him I had a bad back, and he goes, "Man, you got to read this book." And I was like, "Oh, that's gonna help." So the book's called Healing Back Pain. And basically,
simple enough.
Yes, and it's the dude was on Oprah, all these other channels. You guys out there with back pain, which a lot of people have it, check it out. But the guy basically, it was 5 pages in. He goes, "It's a psychological thing to throw out your back." And I took the book and I threw it against the wall and I didn't read it for about 3 months. But I noticed 3 months later that my back didn't throw out anymore just by reading that line. So I finished the rest of the book. By the end of the book, I could actually talk myself out of back pain, and I never had back pain again. So it's kind of an interesting one. The guy's actually world renowned. It's not like a joke thing or some woo-woo stuff. Like it's actually pretty good. So you might dig it.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Does he sell financial advice too?
No. This is not financial advice, is what it said on the front of the book.
Got it. Slide 11. What's so hard to believe? What's so hard to believe here for you?
Which one are we talking about? Oh, energy.
Yeah.
Okay. Sent out a note today. Says anyone want to own energy anymore? Because it's just
Hater.
I mean, it's brutal. XLE has not hit a new all-time high in almost 11 years, which is wild. The number at that bottom there, which I just took a look at the 10 largest weights back on the same date that it hit an all-time high, and it was 17.5%. We're double that number today from the 10 largest weights. That's the part that I was like, wow. Concentration wasn't a problem back then.
Yeah.
And you also had Exxon, and Exxon was the second largest weight in the index. I don't even know if it's probably top 15 right now, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting. Exxon was number 2 just 11 years ago.
Exxon was a big boy for a while, and even Chevron up in there. But energy, there's just been an exodus from that space. You look at flows, you saw a massive amount of flows to energy back during the COVID inflation wave. And they've completely reversed it then. Everyone has left energy. And I do wonder if maybe some of the thematic funds out there, like nuclear or infrastructure, natural resources, are stealing some of it. But you've had a really good reset. And especially on this table here too. This is a random table. It's a small. The sample size is 5, but anytime you get a sector to double its weight over a 2-year time frame, again, it's very arbitrary. The next 2 to 3 years are typically frustration.
That's great. Look at that.
It's interesting, right? I mean, Staples on there was not quite a full doubles, right? But it kind of played out amazingly. So maybe now that we've
12 to 29%, back to 14.
Yeah. So, I wonder, we've gone through this 2 to 3 year pain period for energy. You've seen massive amounts of money leave. At some point, it should work. The opportunity cost is the problem. Yeah. Like you guys know that they have the big bases there. If you're looking for huge bases, energy's where it's at.
People will move into it. It just needs to start working.
Yeah. So like maybe you need oil to get back into the 70s or 80s. It needs a catalyst, and I don't know what the catalyst is.
So next chart, how bad have the outflows actually been? I mean, they're as bad as China, so pretty bad. Why is the financial sector seeing such massive outflows?
I think there's you can call it profit taking if you want.
Okay.
Probably some skepticism. So financials took a huge chunk right after the election because
got it.
We got a clear winner, deregulation, whatever you want to throw out there.
They saw a big inflows after the election.
Yeah.
Hasn't panned out. We've heard nothing about that.
What with the deregulation?
Nothing about deregulation. Nothing.
No, it's nonsense. It's a narrative. But yeah, energy. Everyone's left energy, and I think it's interesting to leave in financials too. Maybe there's some concern there about private assets and that leaking into the system some way. I mean, that's a whole other story. But for energy, just there's no one there. There's nobody there. Natural gas has been good. The gas stocks have been good, but I'm talking about the traditional guys, the big E&P players.
I think it goes all the way back to, when you were talking and looking at your chart before, we're talking about basically energy being a huge loser from 2014 to 2020. And so many, you know this, Todd, so many energy funds and energy traders just disappeared because they just kept getting kicked in the, over and over again. And that kept happening and happening until 2020. And then when everybody was out, it started to finally move. Now it's just consolidating and frustrating everybody once again. So I think a lot of people will start to get out. Seems like the flows are going that direction too. So I think you're right. I think at some point this thing's going to move.
It's just, I mean, this is kind of almost what options exist for, right?
Yep.
Pay a premium so you can get the upside and just wait rather than committing a full investment to it.
This is interesting too, that all the flows that came in,
all gone. XLE, Vanguard Energy, XOP, all that stuff.
So we're close. We got to be close.
The two most interesting areas from the outflow data are healthcare and energy. They're two completely different sectors. But same story there. Like, hey, everyone's left this space.
You're saying healthcare, similar story?
Yeah.
Totally
Entirely different investment case though. Like I don't know,
I
biotechs are so bombed out that I'm like kind of intrigued.
No, and I totally agree with you. Pfizer's paying like an 8% dividend. These stocks are trading at like 10 times earnings.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy. They're trading like
They're-
high yield bonds, like these blue chip healthcare companies.
And like I look at Abbott, I'm like Abbott's pretty good if I'm going to get some healthcare exposure. But I'm watching the genomic funds because those are like the real high beta fuel if you want to get crazy.
We really like the Abbott right now, Todd. Funny you should say that. Funny you should say that.
Abbott's the best of breed
Yeah.
there. But hey, biotechs, a little biotech M&A going on. That could be what sets it off.
And some of the big biotechs look okay. Gilead looks great.
Gilead's the
looks
best one.
fantastic out here.
I can work with Novartis, the ADR. I can
Yeah,
get
there's
down
some
with
great international stuff in healthcare. Like the best ones seem to not be from the U.S.
that. Yeah. ARKG genomics.
I mean, that's
you ever get that one
for
working again?
the real
Oof.
dumpster divers, but
That's been a
this thing's
dog.
coiled
man.
up right below like a shelf of year support.
Let's wherever get Sean on here.
Okay.
Tell Sean to find me an out of the money
like
call
this.
option that
I
makes
like
sense.
this, Todd. You got a little VWAP coming in from the February highs. You got a nice little coil. Okay. Todd's gonna go buy calls. He's gonna get off.
Give me some degenerate OTM calls on these things.
Go way out.
Super
Todd's
far.
going
I want
zero
a lotto
DTE,
ticket
I
stuff.
think. He just doesn't want to tell us.
Good stuff. Any other slides that you just had to hit that we didn't get to today? That you just itching to talk about?
The Europe industrial slide also. That's important.
Is...
Somewhere in there. The weights. This is important.
Oh, here it is.
Because Europe forever was a banking index.
Nice.
Right?
Cool.
And then there was also consumer staples in there. And then, banks go through their whole crisis moment. And healthcare takes over with Novo Nordisk and Sanofi and whatnot. They're going through their problem. Meanwhile, you have European defense that's on fire.
The best looking ones are industrials.
And then something. Yeah, and then Siemens is also a big weight there. So now Europe is the biggest. I mean, industrials are the biggest weight in Europe. That is a massive change for how that your index acts. And I only have three groups here out of the however many there are over in Europe.
That's great.
But an important change when you buy Europe. It's a different. It's like how tech is now the dominant vehicle when you buy the U.S. Industrials are the biggest weight when you buy Europe.
Industrials in the U.S. are leading the way.
Financials. Yeah, industrials here are great, but they're only 9% of the index.
Oh, that's a good point, Jason.
So
like you can express a more bullish thesis on industrials through European indexes than you can in the U.S. And frankly, in the U.S., they've been the best. XLI was the first one to complete this V back to new highs.
Yeah.
So you're better off in IFA than SPY if that's what you want to lean into.
Yep.
And you get some industrials in Japan too. They're different kinds of industrials, like those big conglomerates that Buffett likes.
A lot of old tech in Japan
too. Nintendo, Sony,
some legacy tech there.
I'm a big fan. Even though I don't know if you want to call those tech. I guess
I'm a big fan of both of those too.
Communications, but So I just think this is a very under the radar development in how you invest in Europe. It's not just this financial black hole anymore that it was back in the
Do you like
2000s.
any other areas globally, Todd? Like maybe not Asia, Canada?
Canada. Love me some Canada. Banks there, TD, BMO, big veritable reversals. The miners I thought were done for a little bit, and they just came right back. And then if you can ever get energy again, but look at TRP. TRP's I think it's a gas name. TC Energy, that's the name of the company. Look at that one. That's a good one. So Canada's just under the rate. I like to tell folks Canada is like it's a good value play, value style for a bigger portfolio. So totally under the radar too. No one pays attention to Canada.
I mean, anything in South America?
I don't know. Didn't burn too many times. Brazil, LATAM, all that stuff. Could I see it go and lead here? Yeah, but I can never get into the metals and miners there.
It's tough. It's tough. The regulations are tough with the mining stocks there. They're really tough.
Yeah, I guess it's a low bar for those areas to work, but it just doesn't do it for me. I like my developed markets, I guess, rather than emerging is, I think, probably the tone you might be getting from me.
That's why I want to ask the question, because you know it's interesting, because for me,
Yeah.
I'm invested South America. I have some Asia, a lot of Europe at the moment, but you know, thinking about it just from your angle, I just wanted to hear a little bit more, and those are great answers. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe Korea, Samsung might be bottoming, which I guess would help because it's such a massive weight. But other than that, I'm a developed markets guy for now.
I like it.
All right, Todd. Well, thank you so much. The opening bell has rung.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, here we are.
Getting
This
ready to
is
shut
fun.
this thing down.
I always
Hey, thanks
appreciate
for
you
coming on,
guys.
Todd.
Always have the best talks.
My
Todd
pleasure.
Sohn, ladies and gentlemen.
Eh,
I learn a lot every time Todd comes on, man. I always learn something new. He's a really smart guy, so that was fun to have him on.
Hell yeah. Todd is one of the best. Did you have anything? Did you bring charts or anything you want to
I
run
did,
through? Or
yeah. I did
Give it
bring
to
a
me.
couple.
your
So
thing.
we're on. So we didn't get to go through, which was 33. Oh, it used to be 33. It is now 36.
Chart on. Woo, what the hell is
Steve's a
going on
magician.
here?
So this is a normal Jason chart. Way too much stuff on here. Makes some people a little bit annoyed, but once again, it's just a
Signature
way.
horizontal blue lines.
Oh, yeah,
or
dude.
vertical blue lines.
You're ready, dude. You're ready. This is totally like a drive Steve crazy chart.
Hit
So
me. Yeah. I love it.
So looking at new 52-week highs in gold, this is the way we look at this cycle to kind of understand what should be moving next. So like Steve talked about earlier, like gold starts to move. The next thing you know, it's copper, then oil. Silver also being a part of that. I would put that rate kind of with copper. Usually it moves before copper. Sometimes it doesn't, especially this time. This is mainly a central banks driving gold so high before the miners or silver even caught up to it. So I think it's a little bit different in this cycle. But just looking at this, I think, you know, what we have to really pay attention to here is oil. And copper has hit new 52-week highs. Oil has not. Oil has been dead in the water. But I also agree with Todd.
Yeah.
The best way to think about this, if you want the energy trade to start working, is get oil over 80. Oil over 80, I think the XLE would start to break out and would be a sustainable uptrend where the producers are making a lot of money and the companies are making money, and we can kind of see this finally take off.
Yeah.
But don't front run it. I think that's the thing that I want to say here more than anything else. Don't front run it. Wait for the signals. Wait for those breakouts. However you're going to do it, or do something like Todd said earlier, buy long dated call options. Give yourself time, possibly leaps if you're going to try to play an energy play, but I just give it time.
You know, I ended up, after I finished my post yesterday, I was thinking, what am I going to wrap with? And I thought, you know, who knows what oil or energy does? It doesn't seem like the bears are able to break it down. Been sitting on the lower bounds of this massive distribution pattern since last year now, not able to see any downside follow through. And then with the inner market, it's like, okay, if gold's doing this, silver's doing this, and God forbid copper does this. I said, let's just assume copper and silver break out. In that environment, I don't know about crude oil, but let's not make the bet that it's breaking down and falling apart and collapsing, because boy, wouldn't that be strange? Like, I don't know. Do you have to buy it? No, but maybe don't go shorting it and betting on a breakdown while metals are, you know, raging out here. So maybe that's just the takeaway.
No, I agree with Steve, because I think for me it's I'm pretty sure this thing's going to move. I'm pretty sure it's going to move higher.
Yeah.
And that's the way I want to think about it and play it. So if you get false breakdown signals, you get crossover system, whatever type of trading style you do it. But I would just take the signals as they come. Every trade as they come.
To see it.
Yep.
Because you're not even seeing like the failure or scoop and score quite yet. I'm sitting here talking about it. It hasn't happened. It just looks like it could any day now.
Any day.
Yeah.
Any day.
All right.
And there's a lot of money to be made there. I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand when they look at the energy markets. It's like this thing moves and it really takes off at times. Same with the miners. You know, people were writing it off for years. they're never going to move, they're never going to do this, and then they have, you know, year to date they're up over 50%. You're going to look at energy the same way at some point. At some point, you're going to look at a quarter and see a 50% quarter from energy. It does happen. So I just continue to be open-minded on the space.
This has been great. Jason, thanks so much for joining me today. I think I have a sore back now just from listening to you two old ass men complaining about your backs. I'm going to go have an allergy attack and hang out until the next video at 11.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thank you guys for having me. Steve, as always, a lot of fun to hang out with you and just talk. Sorry about my stuff. Luckily, I keep all the cords here nowadays, so I just changed everything and it works.
No, you were good. I'm always happy to ramble and grateful that I know I can always text Jason at night and say, yo, you want to be on the show tomorrow? Yes, every time. So thanks for being here. Always a pleasure. Jason Purrs, ladies and gentlemen. That was Todd Sohn. I am Steve Strazza. That's it for today for the morning show. We'll be back again tomorrow, regularly scheduled, 8:30 Eastern time, right here on Stock Market TV. Take us out, Izzy.
Run it.